Hi, I'm Xane Daniel, and I can say that I love myself unconditionally. Not only can I say it, but I know it and feel it deeply, because there is a big difference between being able to say it and actually knowing it or actually feeling it. In this video, we're going to talk about those differences. We're going to figure out where you are on that spectrum, and then I'm going to give you lessons and insight as to how to get there, as well as an I love myself unconditionally activation to help you on your journey of self-love. Let's get started. So the first thing that I want you to do right now is say out loud, I love myself unconditionally. I'm going to pause for a second so you can do it. I really want you to say it out loud. How did it feel? When you said, I love myself unconditionally, did it feel like, yes, that is a true statement, or did it feel like you were lying? So how this works is when you answer that question, how did it feel? What you're actually tapping into is the left brain. The left brain is the logical side. It's the one that you can communicate to with language. And this is the one that does most of the thinking. This is your active thinking part of your brain. This is the logic side. So you could say easily, maybe some of you said, oh yeah, I love myself unconditionally, for sure. Because it makes sense to, right? Why wouldn't you? You're the one person that you're trying to protect, and even in your survival-based mindset. Of course, you would have to love yourself in order to try to survive, or to even thrive. So it's fairly easy to say, I love myself unconditionally. But to feel it is something completely different. And so what's the feeling experience? So that is the right brain. And that is the one that we do not have communication with. We cannot talk to that one with language. That one is our subconscious, and it determines everything, every aspect of our lives at any one time. When you go to make a decision, you're using your right brain to decide what to do. Your left brain is involved, right? And it thinks it's making the right decision, or it's making the decision. But actually, if, for instance, your right brain does not love you unconditionally, then what you're going to do is you're going to sabotage your experience. You're going to sabotage, and you're going to make the decision that best represents how you feel. You're going to make the decision based on the fact that maybe you do not love yourself unconditionally. So these are the reasons that you continue to make decisions in your life that may sabotage it, that may take you to places you don't really want to be, to take you in the opposite direction. When you truly love yourself unconditionally and you come upon a decision, and that right brain will kick in and say, oh, well, we love ourselves, so we're definitely going to choose this angle. And then you'll be more likely to choose the thing that makes you happiest, that brings you the most joy, or that is most aligned with your purpose as a 3D, 4D, and maybe even 5D being. When someone asked the Dalai Lama, what is love? He said, it's the absence of judgment. And so unconditional love, of course, is the absence of judgment. It's the absence of conditions. So if you can love yourself unconditionally, that means no matter what you do, you still love yourself. That you run over a squirrel, or you do something to hurt someone else, or you make a decision that gets you fired, that you still love yourself unconditionally. And here's a little tip, here's a little trick to make it a little bit easier. The reason that you don't love yourself unconditionally, most likely, is because of some sort of childhood trauma. Something went wrong, you were abused, even something that's currently happening to you. Maybe you're in an abusive relationship. And you're also trying to live up to some bar that you've set for yourself. Most likely, it's based on some sort of perception of perfection, that you think that you're not perfect yet. So how could you possibly love yourself? And the trick with perfection is that you are trying to adhere to a type of perfection that is perfect without flaws. But perfect without flaws does not exist anywhere in the universe. There is nothing that exists without flaws. There is another type of perfection that you need to hold yourself to, though, and I can explain that as simply perfection with flaws. Everything in the universe has flaws. Flaws are texture. Flaws are interest. So they are perfect flaws that you have. So now, if you measure yourself to perfect with flaws, you already match that. You already have reached that height. And then the other trick to loving yourself unconditionally is that there's no conditions for your love. That means that you love yourself no matter how screwed up you are. You can say, oh my gosh, I don't like my loud laugh. Well, I love myself anyway. I don't like this aspect of myself because it annoys others. You can love yourself anyway. I don't like the fact that I get so mad, or I get so upset, or I'm crying all the time, or whatever your criteria is. Actually, loving yourself unconditionally is easier because it means that you just love yourself. Too bad, however you are. You're perfect with flaws. So this activation will work for many of you, but it won't work for all of you. What I've learned in my work with people to help them love themselves unconditionally is that often I need to directly address this in a one-on-one situation. However, there is a percentage of you that will have a huge impact from this activation. So give it a try, be open to it, allow it to happen. And if it doesn't work, and you'd love that one-on-one attention, then we can most certainly do it in a 30-minute session that'll be very specifically targeted to helping you love yourself unconditionally exactly as you are. So here's the technique that works for most. So go ahead and close your eyes and take a nice big deep breath and relax as you exhale. Feel yourself sinking into the chair that you're sitting in. For this activation, what I want you to do is you're going to repeatedly say silently in your head over and over and over again, I love myself unconditionally. You will keep repeating this, and then eventually I will give you an activation. The way my activations work is, I'm going to say breath in. You'll take a nice big deep breath, you'll hold it at the top, and you'll wait for me to say the key word, awaken. And then you can exhale. This awaken can sometimes be explosive, so consider yourself warned. What I'll want you to do is continue to repeat, I love myself unconditionally, all the way through the activation. So begin stating that over and over again. I love myself unconditionally. Breath in. Awaken. Good. So you can stop saying it. And take another nice big deep breath and really relax. Feel what it feels like to truly love yourself unconditionally, to realize your perfection with flaws, to realize that you can just love yourself anyway, despite all that's happened to you or all that you've done in this world. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for participating in that activation. Now what I would say is go ahead and once again say, I love myself unconditionally out loud. Go ahead and do it right now. So how did that feel? Did it feel any different? Did it start to make a difference somewhere? Maybe on the left brain, maybe even on the right brain. And if you check with me, I can also check with you. So you can leave a question in the comments and say, hey, could you check to see that if my right brain loves myself unconditionally? Because I can check that, just like I check for negative entity attachments. I'd be happy to respond to you. So go ahead Leave a comment below, because that does help me too, because I do want to reach more and more people. I do want to help the world love themselves unconditionally. It's the path toward a new civilization, a fifth dimensional civilization, which is my main mission, my main goal is to help society get to that point. I do this through a number of means, including an awesome hawk just flew over. It's wonderful. I do this through a number of means. I write a comic book that is a mainstream book about how enlightenment will take over the world. It's essentially a manual on a utopian society. I do activations like this. I do one-on-one sessions, and I also teach a course or a program to help people remove negative entities for life. And many of you have been suffering with them for most of your lives. We've been extremely successful. And the reason that I know that that is a huge part of helping the world ascend is because if you have negative entity attachments, you are actually a very powerful light worker. And those entities are standing in your way from realizing your power and maybe even realizing your gifts. So thanks so much for watching. Please like and comment and subscribe. It'll help me reach those people we were just talking about. I love you unconditionally, and I'll see you in the next video. When you go to make it...